Okay, here we're going to talk about equations of lines from the following perspective. You're going to be given a graph of a line, and you're going to state its equation in y equals mx plus b form. I'm going to do two examples here, and I'll try and be thorough. We see the directions say here, please determine the slope-intercept equation of the lines below. Now, when we say slope-intercept equation, we in fact are referring to y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So if we can just identify the slope m and the y-intercept b for the given line, we can synthesize the correct equation by then just putting them into that form in their respective places. Okay, so let's take a look at what that seems to be. To determine the slope of a line, we need to establish two good points on the line. And I'm going to pick on this first line, this point right here, and then I'm going to just sort of ride the line up here until I see another point that's on a grid with my eye, and I found it, and it's in fact right here. Okay, you do need 2 points, and having them on grids make them much easier to read. So, to establish the slope, we know that slope is rise over run. So from this first point, I will rise up 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and then I will run, which means to move horizontally from that position. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just counting the number of grids. And that will create a situation where the slope is 3 over 4. Now, simplifying that, we still get 3/4. Okay, so that is a fine form like that. And now I just need to take a look at the y-intercept of this line, which in fact is right here, was this first point. It was not by accident. I looked at that point first because I knew I would need it. And that is a y-intercept of 2, making my final answer to be y equals 3/4 x plus 2. Again, this is of the form y equals mx plus b. A good way to check this might be to put this in the y equals button of your calculator, hit the graph button, and then compare the picture on your graph to the picture that you started with in the given graph. Okay, let's move on to this next example. We can see the slope is downhill here, so we should expect a negative slope. And again, I'll take 2 points. Taking one on the y-axis is good because you'll need that in just a moment. And then moving down the line to your right, we'll see the next point. It's maybe this one. You could take any 2 points on the line. For instance, I could have taken this first one. I'm redoing in blue, and this one down here. But if you don't take the first available one that's on the line that hits a grid, you create a fraction that will need to be simplified. So it's good to take the closest 2 points together on the line that hit grid points on your graph. Okay, so here we'll see it's maybe a little tighter to see here, but to go from one point to the other, I'll come down 1. I'll note that that's in fact -1. And then from there I will go to my right 1. And going right is positive. So you're going to see now when I create that fraction where the rise is -1 and the run was 1, that simplifies to be -1. Okay? So now we have to establish the y-intercept, which I kind of did already. It's just that point, that first one that I picked, and we see here it's -2. And scroll down just a bit. When I synthesize that equation, it's going to be y equals, now be careful, it's -1, but you don't need to write -1x. So you just write -x. You don't need to write the 1. It's kind of immature and inappropriate to write that. Doesn't make it numerically wrong, but it's not what we're looking for in the higher level writing that we expect from kids in this class. So then the y-intercept here is -2. So just simply, the equation is y equals -x minus 2. You could pop that into your graphing window under the y equals button and compare it, the picture on your graphing calculator to the one given here. So again, to establish the appropriate y equals mx plus b equation, it's very simple. You just need to establish the slope of the graph and the y-intercept, and then write the appropriate equation. Again, a tip when you are trying to establish the slope, you have to pick 2 points on the line, and picking points on the line that hit grid markers is what you want, and the closest two together that you can get is going to create the optimum situation for getting a fraction that you probably will not have to simplify. Okay, so enjoy. Feel free to rewatch it, and I'm sure this is something you'll master pretty quickly.